This is my 6.4 feedback and future action for Aaron. So here we can see that Aaron made two 2-points and Charlie made two 2-point shots. But Aaron attempted for 3 more than Charlie did and only made 2. But this doesn't mean he hasn't got the required skills to be a power forward. So this is the data for the layups and attempted and made. So the layup is important for a power forward, so he can make more shots. So they both attempted 1 and made one each. So this is good for the players. So this is the data for the 3 points. So Aaron attempted 3 but only made 1, whereas Charlie only attempted 2 but made none. So this is good for Aaron because he's making the right attempts, but he's not making the right skills, so he may need to improve on these shots. So this is the data for the 3 throws for attempts and made. So Aaron had 4 chances but only made 2. This is quite important for a power forward because they need to make these shots to make as many points as possible. This is also important for them just in case they get any chances and they need to make them. And whereas Charlie only made 2 but attempted 2 and made 1 of them. So this is the data for the defensive rebounds made. So Charlie made 1, but whereas Aaron didn't make any. So this isn't good because he needs to be on getting these rebounds so he can get the ball and try and score. So this is the correlation test between the group height and the offensive rebounds. So as we can see, there's a moderate correlation of the R value of 0.54. So this means there's a significant moderate correlation, and with the P value of 0.025. So this means we can trust this data. So overall, the evaluation of Charlie and Aaron, as them both being power forwards. So looking at the statistics, Aaron attempted 2-point shots, 2 more 2-point shots, and only made 2, whereas Charlie attempted 2 but only made 2. So this is good for Charlie as the non-experienced player, but maybe not as good as Aaron. But this doesn't mean Aaron is good. This just suggests that his skill level isn't at the right standard it needs to be. So Charlie also has the advantage as he is taller than Aaron, so this gives him an easier chance to get in the basket. So this is the movement patterns for the players. So Aaron, you can clearly see that he's been moving around, covering all the corners and sides, making sure he's getting the ball as much as possible. Whereas Charlie, as the non-experienced player, he's only covering half of the court, but he's up both sides, just only half of it. Whereas you should be covering all sides, just like Aaron. So this is the data for the jump and the impulse for both players. So the jump height is important for a basketballer because they need to be able to get the rebounds and be able to jump high so they can get them. So as the non-experienced player, Charlie did jump higher, but it was not a very accurate data because he had to hold a position longer and he didn't quite do that jump properly, so he didn't keep it at 45 degrees or 90 degrees. So this may have given him an advantage against Aaron. But with the countermeasure jump, we can clearly see that both players jumped a lot higher than they did with the 45 degree and 90 degree. But for the 90 degree jump, this is important for basketballers because when they're down low boxing out, they're going to need to be able to generate a lot of power and be able to get up high. But with Aaron, we can clearly see he needs to work on this ability. So with the propulsive impulse, we can see that the non-experienced player generated a lot more force than Aaron did. So this also needs to be worked on because Aaron needs to be able to jump. We can see that his 90 degree jump was a lot less powerful than his 45 degree jump. So this is the group data for everybody, but we can see that there's an anomaly in Jacob's data where it says he jumped 1.37 meters, so this could affect the averages throughout the data. So this is the link between the player height. So Aaron is just above the average player height, but where it sees Charlie is a lot higher in height than above the average and is a lot taller than Aaron. So this gives him an advantage when he is playing or when he's doing the jump because it gives him a lot more height and he can generate a lot more force. So with the mean, this is the mean braking force, so this is how heavy they landed or lightly. So we can see that Aaron has quite a heavy landing and is a lot more above the average. So this is a bad thing for him. So because if he's landing quite heavy, this could cause injury and he wouldn't be able to play, or that he could be doing the wrong technique when jumping and landing. But Aaron has got quite a heavy landing compared to the average, which is quite a low heavy landing. So this is the two players' jump height compared to the average. So we can see that Aaron jumped a lot less than the average, and then a little bit less than Charlie. But Aaron will need to be able to work on this, as he needs to be able to jump quite high to reach the rebounds and make the layups to be able to score points and defend when he as a power forward. So this is Aaron's box out and rebound, which is linked into the stretch shortening cycle. So this is when you go to the vertical jump, and there are three phases to it. These are the eccentric contraction, the concentric contraction, and the amortization phase. The eccentric contraction is when the player is going to bend down to the ground. So this is when the player is going to bend down to the ground, which stretches the muscle spindle when the tendons contract. So these two muscles do this to prevent injury. This is when the elastic energy is starting to build up. So the next phase is when the player either stays down low, which then when you stay down low, they loses the elastic energy created, or if the player jumps back up, which then all the elastic energy turns into power and you are able to jump up. So this is when the concentric contraction happens, when the muscles spring back into place, which releases all the elastic energy used to jump. So the strengths and weaknesses for Aaron are his layups, which is good for a power forward as they needed to do this regularly. His technique, so the technique and the preparation for the jump. So the technique is good, so this is good for him, so he is correcting the correct skill, but may not have the power or strength for the jump height, which is also one of his weaknesses. There's also his preparation is good, so this suggests he has got the right correct skill for being power forward, but maybe not the right power. So this is linked to his strength. So his weaknesses will be the 2-point and 3-point shots, which are very important for power forward, as they are the main shooters of the game. His jump height, which will affect his layups, and also his 90-degree jump, which will affect his layups and his box out into the rebound. So this is when we did a force time graph for the vertical jump of the 90-degree jump. So as we can see, the first drop here is when he's bending down into the ground to prepare to jump, and then as we can see here, this is where he is jumping up in the air, and when it drops down here, this is when he's in the air. So the time between here and here, this is how long he's in the air for, and when it spikes back up here, this is when he's just landed. As if you've got to see, he has got a very heavy landing, and down here is when he's just landed and bent his knees to absorb all the shot going through. So the analysis of his weaknesses. Aaron has attempted 2-point and 3-point shots, but hasn't made it all, which will affect the score overall. So he will do this with drills to improve his technique, and overall will help him and benefit into his game. His jump height isn't as good as it needs to be for his level of play, which will be improved also through strengthening his legs, which will create more power. Also, he will need to improve his 3-point shots, because when he's boxing somebody out, he will want to get to the rebound as quickly as possible, and this is also to do with the 90-degree jump, when he's concentrically creating power, so he will have to get to the rebound and be able to jump up quite high, and this would be improved with strength training. So these are some of the drills to improve Aaron's weaknesses. So he'll be doing 3-point spot up shooting drill, mid-range spot up shooting drill. So both of these will improve his 2-point and 3-point shooting. He'll be doing jumping rope, which will improve his jump height as he's strengthening his legs. Tuck jumps, which will also improve his 90-degree and his jump height. Slow motion squats will improve his 90-degree jump, and he'll be doing also toe raises. So this will improve the muscles in his legs, so he can create power easily, more through concentric contraction, but that's more with the squats. So this has been my 6.4 evaluation for Aaron.